What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Oh, I'm actually done with this, but cheers anyways. And today I actually have a post from a different subreddit today. Usually I talk about the posts in the Neville Goddard subreddit, but today's post is from the Law of Attraction subreddit. And I came across this as I was doing research for my book, which I mentioned. I've mentioned the book a few times in videos, and I also mentioned it the other day. I appreciate all the votes because you guys voted for the robotic affirmation code. What is it again? The robotic affirmation code, the formula for successful manifestation on autopilot. And I'm very stoked about that title right there. Somebody said that one was the best because of the KISS method, which is to keep it simple, stupid. And I love how that title, there's multiple things about it. First of all, the aspect of robotic affirmations is this sort of system, right? It's like this systematized process that becomes logical because it's robotic, right? And so having a formula for robotic affirmations and the formula being the successful manifestations on autopilot makes perfect sense because, you know, as we know, robotic affirming, they used to be called auto suggestions because they are automatic. It's supposed to be automatic. So to get us to bridge the gap and come full circle that it is successful manifestation on autopilot, that is the goal of robotic affirmations. So I'm very excited about that title. I'm working on the book cover right now. But today's video, we are going to be talking about, again, this post I found this because I'm doing research on the book, writing the book, finishing it up, and talking about the 369 method. And when I was looking at researching the 369 method, that's how I stumbled across this post here. Because a lot of people have had success using that. I'll probably post another video on that method as it pertains to using your affirmations, but I'm going to cover this one, and we can see here, this is actually a standout post. It was literally posted yesterday by this person, Smoked Lay, and there's a lot of people that are loving it, asking for a part two. So here it is. It's called, I shifted to my dream life in less than a year. I shifted to my dream life in less than a year. I wanted to share my experience on how I was able to completely shift my reality in less than a year, all through the mind. This is mainly a story about two things: making the unconscious conscious by being aware, and living in the end. Making the unconscious conscious comes from Carl Jung, and living in the end comes from Neville Goddard. See, I've been talking about Carl Jung on the channel. Carl Jung was the one who initially talked about synchronicities. Carl Jung is the one who talks about how we have the anima as men, and as women, you have the animus, which are the unconscious male, female aspects of the psyche. And he's also the one that came up with, you know, the shadow. And so the shadow work journal, which has really taken off as a book and that a lot of people are using, really blew up on TikTok. It's one of the best-selling books in the self-help category on Amazon. As I've been doing, like I said, more research on my book, her book, which I downloaded a copy of, is actually really great. And there is so much that we can understand by understanding Carl Jung's ideas on the conscious, on consciousness. And so this is really cool that he's bridging the gap too, because that's what I like to do, is bridge the gap between Carl Jung and Neville Goddard. If you are, one of the things that I spoke about when I spoke to Mark Darian, when I had a podcast interview with him, as well as Sam from the Soul's Playground, is this idea of constellating, of this idea of seeing the signs in the synchronicities that are leading you towards your path or towards the bridge of incidents to achieve your goal. But let's continue on. So I'm not sure where to even begin because my whole reality changed. I dropped out of college, started a successful business, started going to the gym, and went from skinny to actually looking pretty good. No longer anxious or worried. No more mental health issues either. It feels like I found the kingdom of God. Practicing spirituality without receiving any benefits is false. It started with me working at a rental car wash where I would pressure wash rental cars. But I was allowed to have my headphones on, so I would start listening to manifestation stuff and tons of books about the mind and the nature of reality. Then I started to get really into the rabbit hole and started deepening my understanding. And in my quest of truth, I was getting into more esoteric and mystical texts based on ancient religion. That's enough of the background story. Let me get into what I realized. I realized manifestation is not something that you do. It's something that's always happening, whether you're conscious or not. This is the cause of why people's lives are messed up, by unconsciously creating these situations, but not being aware of how they're creating them. It usually is because of faulty beliefs and negative thought patterns. I realized that my life was never spent dreaming or thinking about my desired life. It was constant thought patterns about stress and focusing on the lack of success. If your whole day is thinking of your lack of success instead of thinking of living in the end of your desired goals, you will only manifest more negative thoughts. Through self-talk, I was dissolving the subconscious doubt and limitations I would have in my mind. This is what really helped me realize and reclaim my power of understanding that I'm the creator of my reality. You'd be surprised at how many unconscious limitations you put on yourself just because of beliefs that have been implanted into your subconscious mind from childhood or throughout your life. It's important to recognize how your childhood affected you and if you have unconscious trauma that's manifesting in ways that are hurting your quality of life. Absolutely. This is why I have the free ebook, which is linked down below in all my videos, that is literally how to find and then remove by the root your limiting beliefs. And again, like they said, a lot of them originate from childhood, but interesting because yes, that I have there's exercises in there which I've done personally and had a massive impact in my life. I mean, I was able to get to the heart of some of these beliefs. I was able to rewrite them in the format that I would want to entertain, and then begin to catch myself, like you said, with the self-talk. And that is one of the most powerful things about robotic affirmations too, is it's simply a tool that we can use to redirect our self-talk, our inner story, our inner narrative, the thoughts that are dominating our awareness. Because if we're not aware of what those are, we are being led unconsciously onto a script or a movie, if you like, that is not to our choosing and that is not beneficial to us. So we need to take back conscious control of those stories running around in our head, of that self-talk, of that inner narrative, that inner dialogue, and these are great tools to do so. One of them is using that those exercises down below in the ebook about getting rid of your limiting beliefs. The other is to then, the new book that's coming out, the Robotic Affirmation Code, you're going to begin to, there's tons and tons of research that I've done of the science, why this works, the neuroscience, quantum physics. Then it goes into how to incorporate them in your daily, like the power of them, people that have used them in the past, how to incorporate them in your daily routine, all kinds of celebrity success stories. I mean, I have tons and tons of stuff in here that you guys can latch on, see how these public figures, celebrities use them in their own practice. And then I give you guys techniques for every single technique that I've found over the course of, over 10 years of studying this. There's all kinds of techniques that are in there. And they're all going to enable you to take back control and consciously implement the thoughts of your choosing, to insert the thoughts of your choosing, to dismiss the thoughts that you are not wanting to entertain, bring in the thoughts you want to, begin to rewrite the story. And it's been a labor of joy, I guess is what you could call it. It's been a lot of work that's gone into this book, but it's also been a very cool process because I've been able to consolidate all of my understandings over the course of all these years into this book for you guys. And it's been a labor of love, I guess is the word that I was looking for. But continuing on here with the post, through self-talk, I was dissolving the subconscious doubt and limitations I would have in my mind. This is really what helped me realize and reclaim my power of understanding that I'm the creator of my reality. You'd be surprised at how many unconscious limitations because of, this childhood. Okay. I found that while I was persistent in living in the ideal reality, it brought me all the knowledge and guidance I needed in starting my business. By knowing the what the how is created by itself. Through mystical traditions and direct experience, I learned that God/the universe is the source of all fulfillment and desire. Once you live in the end, you don't need to know how it's going to happen because God creates this idea and the ideal and pleasant path based on your unique talents and interests. This is one of the biggest pitfalls in entrepreneurship. People just want to replicate and follow a how to, but the truth is that business success is a natural side effect of something deeper. Pure art is not created by a how, but by living in the end and allowing God to provide clarity in the form of intuitive hunches, inner inspiration, and through your inner conversation. And this is the type of stuff that Carl Jung talks about. That's why I think he's, when it comes to this conversation of achieving your goals and of manifesting and of your creative power, he's probably one of the most overlooked and most beneficial people that we could be studying. Somebody like Neville Goddard, not to take away from Neville, but he's just, I think, overhyped in this space. It's great. Like you can, there's a lot of information out there and people have boiled down his teachings, but I think that more often than not, we can get off track just by studying just his work alone in a vacuum. And some of his ideas can become pretty toxic. But if we combine that with an understanding of psychology, if we combine that with an understanding of some of these other teachers and the way that Carl Jung talks about consciousness, synchronicities, and all of these things, we begin to tie and connect the dots together and constellate, much like Carl Jung talks about. And that, I believe, is what the OP is talking about, is that you will begin to find these intuitive hunches, this inner inspiration, and these ideas will begin to reveal themselves. And the more that you get in touch with all of these things, the more that you're going to be able to start seeing these signs and synchronicities, the more that they're going to connect. There's another very interesting YouTuber named Galahad Eradinus, who I would highly recommend, who talks about his own personal experiences using these ideas that Carl Jung talks about and seeing these synchronicities unfold in terms of his manifestations. So you don't even have to worry about making a wrong decision because there can't be. Everything is rigged in your favor. Stop listening to others. Create your ideal reality in your mind. Accept that reality is the present moment. Then recognize that the only thing you need to do is focus on being aware in the present moment. Circumstances do not matter. No matter where you are or what you're doing, reality can be rigged in your favor. I never would have thought about the business idea that created my successful business. I'm able to run it completely remote, and I didn't have to make any excuses about my resources because I was able to make a way anyways. I didn't focus too much on the entrepreneurial aspects in the business because I wanted to focus on the part that actually matters. The problem is that when people have business success, they will tell you the steps they took to get there, but they don't realize how it wasn't them who created it. It was already done for them and they just went along with it. Then the problem is that they tell others to follow the same steps even though they don't actually know how it happened. Because 95% of your life is created by the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is only responsible for choosing. Stop trying to figure things out with the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is almost like an algorithm. When you decide to turn the wheel of your car to drive and don't actually think about turning the wheel, it's your subconscious mind that is turning the wheel. I'd consider you to be more mindful of the actions of your subconscious mind puts you in and creates during the day and start recognizing patterns. This creates consciousness. I can't stress enough how important the now moment is. There's no point in thinking about the future because it doesn't exist. That's all for today. I couldn't get too in depth because this is already long as fuck, but if this helped even one person, I'll drop a part 2 of an OP scripting method I developed that will begin to manifest your dream life or whatever you want within 30 days. Pretty big, bold claim here. And so people are asking, the top comment, do us all a favor and do part 2, please. Please drop your part 2. Would love to learn more. Other people, when part 2 comes, please notify me. So we have a question here from Legitimate Being 3520. Hey, loved your post. I have a question though. If the subconscious mind is the one that manifests, how can I be conscious of what it is thinking? If my thoughts aren't the ones that manifest, how do I know I'm manifesting correctly and don't have any limiting beliefs still in my subconscious mind? So the OP wrote, hey, glad you found it insightful. Your conscious mind is the thinking, analytical part of your mind. It's what you're actively aware of. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, doesn't think in the same way. It's more like a vast storage system that holds beliefs, habits, and patterns, many of which were formed without your conscious awareness. Good question about how to be conscious of what your subconscious is thinking. While you can't directly access your subconscious thoughts, you can become more aware of them, though, observing your automatic reactions and behaviors, paying attention to recurring patterns in your life, noticing your emotional responses to situations, analyzing your dreams. I'm a big fan of this one too. Practicing mindfulness and meditation. You don't have to worry about manifesting correctly because it's not you, conscious mind, manifesting. It's only up to you to be aware of what you're manifesting. Yeah, so other people are talking about this. Then they're talking about how to get rid of trauma, working on their self-concept. And again, guys, that link down below to get rid of your limiting beliefs is going to really help in this process, because you're going to become more aware of what these beliefs are that are lingering beneath the surface in that subconscious. And that's what this person's asking here. You're going to be able to figure what they are, write them out. There's exercises for you to write them out, discover what they are, and then uproot them, essentially canceling them out, replacing them with the positive new beliefs that you want there in their place that are going to be beneficial. All right. So yeah, guys, hopefully and it looks like they probably will put that part 2. Let me know what your guys' thoughts and comments are on this. And again, this, these ideas here, it's not like this guy's saying anything that we haven't really, the thing is, everybody has their own take on this stuff. And I really like how he brought Carl Jung in here. I'd be curious to know and maybe he'll cover in the next post, what specifically of Carl Jung's ideas he is kind of focused on, or that he believes were of the utmost importance in his kind of allowing this idea for this business to come to fruition, right? It's an interesting thing. And again, it would be really cool if he was willing to share more information on his business. I know that a lot of people don't want to share the business itself, right? Because, they want to keep it private and they don't want to kind of put that stuff out there. But at the very least, him going into general about what the business is, I'm sure it must be some sort of online business. He says that he's able to work remotely, and it probably came together for him in a way which is pretty interesting, which could also be inspiring. So hopefully, like I said, he will go and reveal that in his next post, or reveal at least more information about that. With that being said, guys, much love as always. Again, drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.